NaNoJouMo 2016 by Creative Katie. That's me, Karen Birchall. Take time to hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner and you won't miss upcoming videos. I haven't been really active with NaNoJouMo lately. This one took a long time to get done. Enjoy. Here's a sneak peek of my page called Merry and Bright. So I grabbed my Dilutions paints and I have Postbox Red, the Orange, Cherry Pie, and Pomegranate Seed. And all these colors are going to work well together because they are analogous colors. You will find them next to each other on the color wheel. And that's always a good clue that the colors will work well together. I'm just using the applicators. It's a Ranger applicator and sponge that I may have attached to an old teacher stamp or a wooden spool, just so I didn't have to buy all the Ranger products and have all the applicators. So this time I'm doing this on a non-gesso surface, which is a little different for me. I just thought I'd try it out in my mixed media Canson art journal. And it went on not bad. It definitely goes better on smoother paper or on paper that has gesso. So it made me work a little bit harder here. Right now you see the pomegranate seed, and I love that luscious burgundy color. It's way richer than what you see here. So as always with the Dilutions paints, you apply some, let it dry or dry it, and then apply more, and you layer it. It's very translucent paints, and you just build up the color layers and the interest. So recently, as a retirement gift, I got a Silhouette Cameo 3. And so I have been spending some of my studio time trying to get familiar with and cutting different things with this machine. So I have, for a very long time, been searching for a poinsettia stencil. And I found one on there, and that's what I will be using. So I just wanted the rich colors of poinsettias, not just the red, but some of the other colors. But I'm just going to build a very rich, colorful, textured background. And there's a bit of a peek at the stencil. So I decided I'm going to build up some visual texture, applying the same color of Dilutions paints through different stencils. And typically I go and I apply different colors through the same stencil on different parts of it. That leads to cohesiveness in the project instead of using too many different stencils or too many colors. And I'm sticking to stencils that have a bit of a round shape to them. That also is a way of building cohesiveness in there. So I'm sticking to the same 4 colors, and I'm sticking to kind of roundish shapes for the background here. This is one of the things, the blending of the Dilutions paints and this technique of layering stencils on happens so effortlessly with the Dilutions paints, and it is really an area that these paints shine compared to others. And there's just kind of a quick peek at how lovely this page is developing the texture in there. And because I'm me, I need to put some shimmer and shine in here. So I'm using this Americana stencil. I believe it's called Segmented Swirl. and I'm putting some gold through the stencil. So this is just straight up acrylic paint, craft paint, I believe. And it's very faint. And you don't see a whole lot of this later on. When I look at this background now, because of where I decided to go with it later, you lose a lot of this. But that's the fun of art journaling. You never quite know where things are going to take you. So again, while the shape of the segments aren't circular, we do have the swirl pattern. So we've kept the round pattern going. And you can see the shimmer of the gold when you tilt the page. It just adds extra interest on a page depending on how the light is. So there's the poinsettia stencil or mask that I've cut out with my Silhouette machine. And it was one that I purchased from Silhouette. And I'm going to use some black Dilutions paints, and I'm just going over this poinsettia stencil. And I'm not overly concerned about not covering it completely. I do want some of the red and orange to peek through in there. I don't want it to be just pure black. So you're going to see me moving this mask through from different places across this whole page so that it is covered with this poinsettia. So right now you've seen my entire plan that I had for this page. I was going to use those colors, I was going to use dilution paints, and I was going to use this poinsettia stencil. Now I'm thinking to myself, do I want to leave the top blank and just have the poinsettias on the bottom, or am I going to cover the whole page? So I made a decision after trying one and trying another and thinking about it. Now, I used to have some spray adhesive before my move. It didn't make it on the move because the movers don't take aerosol cans. But this would be a perfect case where to put a removable spray adhesive on, and when you spray the adhesive on the back and you let it dry for a while before you use it, it becomes removable. And I've used that with a lot of success in the past. I just simply have to go and buy it again to have it. And so there we have a poinsettia color stencil. So I'm just cleaning off my felt applicators, my blending tools here, as always with the dilutions paints. And I spray water into the felt applicator, and then I sponge it off onto paper towel, or one of my favorite things to put it on is a coffee filter. I really like the texture that you get with a coffee filter. And, I was going to take this out of the video, but I want to show you that is part of the art journaling process. So I tried my Sakura Jelly Roll Gold pen, and for some reason it just seemed to have dried up. And then I think, okay, I'm going to try my Uniball Signo White. So I'm going and doing some of the white just to see how it looks. Knowing that because it is water soluble, I can remove it if I decide I don't like it. So knowing what the properties of your products is really helpful because it helps you decide. And I decided that no, I really didn't want, the white wasn't where I wanted to go. I really, really wanted to go with the gold. So then I decided with the gold, I have this stencil. I am going to use this embossing liquid and stamp this all over the stencil, and I am going to put embossing powder gold on this mask and turn it on and then glue this onto the page. So I take some time to get that done. So the liquid that's in here, I imagine, is very much like the Versamark stamp pad, and this is Wow Gold. A couple spots were missing and I decided to go in, and then I realized, no, Karen, just go and heat it up, and then you can touch it up afterwards. You can add another layer if there's any spots. So I think I'm going to be looking for a embossing gun. I have the Ranger heat tool, but for when it comes to embossing, I find it doesn't do the best because it doesn't get as hot as what I understand embossing guns do. And so if you have one and you can recommend it, please leave that in the comments. And I will make sure I let my husband know with Christmas coming. Just looking at this now, I'm thinking if I had cut out several of these and embossed them in the gold, glued them down onto the paper on top of the colored background, that would have been lovely. And I skipped the whole step with the black. So maybe I'll try that on a Christmas card or something. It's funny how ideas come to you at the oddest of times. So just touching up some spots that didn't get covered and getting the heat tool out again. As I said, this page took me several sessions in the studio to do. I've been really struggling with the journal pages lately. They just haven't seemed to been coming. Maybe my mind's too scattered. So there you see me trying to put the gold on, and I'm finding it's just too busy. So I decide to throw that idea out, and I'm taking the gold, I believe this is Martha Stewart's gold paint, and I thinned it down and I put it into a fine tip applicator. I got this fine tip applicator from Curry's art store, which is a Canadian art store, but I will put the link to something similar in my Amazon store, so if you're interested in it. Now these little bottles are great. I find it quite easy to use and to have control over. Although you need to not want to be perfectly precise. You know, some places are going to be a little thicker, some are going to be a little thinner. You kind of have to give up that complete control. So with the addition of this gold, it's finally coming into my head that this is very similar to what I had envisioned from the beginning. And when I showed the page before I put the gold on to a couple of my crafting friends here, when we were doing jelly printing, both of them said it needs gold. So even they agreed with the picture that I had in my head, even without me telling them. The set of tips, I think there's 3 different sizes. The one word of warning when you're doing this is you kind of have to organize where you're going to go and how you're going to do it so that you're not putting your hand into the wet paint. So now I'm just finishing off all the outlining. And then setting this aside to dry because the paint is a little thicker and I just want it to dry for a good long time to make sure I don't make a mess of it. So now I'm taking off the tips and I am going to show you how I clean them. And I'm trying to put the Murphy's oil soap through the spray bottle into the cap. And I've taken some of the caps before because I was trying some of the nibs, and I just threw them in this little glass jar that has some Murphy's oil soap so that they wouldn't dry out and they would start to clean. Then I decided that I'm going to get another little bottle and put Murphy soap in it, put the tip on that, and squirt it right through the tip to really make sure that the tip, all the acrylic paint is out. And spraying through it. I've also done where I've had a spray or a squirt bottle and I just squirt through there. So with my Silhouette Cameo, I played with some fonts. This was a font that called Mantigo, which I downloaded from dafont.com, and I just typed out the phrase merry and bright, which I had actually found in a magazine cutout that I had in my file folder. But I wanted it a little bit bigger and bolder, and I cut it out, and so now I have all these letters, and I decided there's a little bit of black in the middle, and I'm just kind of making it float in there. I'm just adhering it to the page with some gel medium. In a matte finish. On video it looks like this is a yellowish color. It's more orangey, which wouldn't have been the first pick, but I really didn't know what color to go with. Black wasn't going to work, red wasn't going to work. I thought about painting it yellow or painting it gold, but then I decided to leave it with orange. After I took a few pictures with it, I just decided that it looked quite nice the way it was. So I dug out my gelato, my black gelato, and I'm just going around to edge and frame my page. Just sticking a piece of plastic cutting board. So I can do that. And I'm thinking to outline or do some black on top of the letters. And then I said, you know what? This is a time less is more. This is a pretty big, busy page with all the colors and textures and the outlining. I think we're just going to leave it as it is. Any ideas that we have or any ideas that we didn't use that we thought we were going to use, you might see that in upcoming Christmas videos. So here's some shots of the finished page and some close-ups, just so you can see the colors and the textures. There you can even see some of the shimmer of the gold coming through. There was the magazine phrase that I had cut out that looked so good with the colors. Just like to take this opportunity to thank you for watching my videos. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, ask a question. Love to hear from you. I answer all my comments.